Hello, unhoused in CLT. My name is Debbie. Again, going to apologize for another bit of an absence. But I've been working, your girl's been working hard, trying to find people that actually want to share their story and hopefully shine a light on the homeless situation here in Charlotte, and how it happens, and how good, hardworking people are finding themselves unhoused in CLT. It took me a minute because there are a lot of people that were interested, but maybe weren't as committed to the idea. Or, they've got, when you're homeless, probably the last thing on your mind is doing an interview for a nice lady for a podcast. You got other fish to fry that are much more important, so I get it. But I did manage to meet a wonderful young lady who actually found herself in a situation. She's originally from out of state, but her daughter was accepted at UNCC, and I think her major is like biomedical engineering or something really smart and nerdy like that. So she's a special young lady, and I think her mom's pretty awesome too. So obviously, when this happened, her mom um, sold everything. They sold everything and moved here to Charlotte. And she was going to support her daughter in any way possible. She got a bunch of, I think, scholarships and things, but there's still expenses with being a college student that her mom was committed to help with. So they sold everything, packed up, and moved to Charlotte. Got here and got her daughter situated in college, and then discovered that the rental situation here is a bit unsustainable for a single mom with a high school diploma. She's a hardworking person, very intelligent woman, very thoughtful, and what's the word? She's thoughtful, she's intelligent, she's just very well spoken, and she's not one of these people that has like a substance abuse problem. And I'm not saying that if she did, she deserves to be homeless. That's not what I'm saying at all. But the method and the means by which she found herself in this situation, I think, is very relatable to anybody. There's a lot of people who just through a series of unfortunate circumstances and events find themselves homeless. It can be a certain amount of things that happen and just kind of spiral out of control. You lose your job, you have an illness, something, and before you know it, you got nowhere to live. So I think most people can relate to being in a situation like that. But this particular young lady, we bonded so well, I feel like. We spoke for about 5 hours, and she shared so much of herself. And she was just so genuine and open, and I appreciate it. Now, when it came time to discuss actually putting the videos out there and having her images and her identity somewhat revealed, that made her uncomfortable, which I totally understand. If I put myself in her shoes, which is the reason why I've had such a hard time finding people anyway that want to share their stories on this platform. It's a difficult position to put yourself in. Basically, the words that she used were that she's not sure she wants to be the face of homelessness in Charlotte. I don't blame her. I probably would have come to the same conclusion, and I told her that. So what I did was tell her that we could find some way to blur her identity in the videos, and I did. I'm not the most tech savvy girl. I'm just gonna be honest. Like, I'm a massage therapist. I use these hands and I touch people all day, and I love that. I spent 20, 25 years in corporate America where I was, pretty tech savvy. I could get around the computer and do things. Now I'm just like, not really interested. So yeah, I was ready to just pay a guy to work on that for me. And then I realized, oh yeah, we don't have a budget for that. I don't have no money. So, so what I ended up doing, and I'm hoping she's okay with it. What I ended up doing was putting her in like an emoji sticker. I shot these videos on my cell phone, or no, on my laptop, but I transferred it to my cell phone so that I could play with it more. And I found that if I use some emoji stickers over her face, it would blur her identity. Thankfully, she speaks very clearly. She speaks very well. Like I said, she's super intelligent. You shouldn't have any difficulty understanding her. I just was afraid that some of the emotion that she conveyed during our interview would be lost with the blurring of her identity. I hope not. I don't think so. Um, like I said, the videos are very easy to understand, so I don't think you're going to have a hard time understanding the conversation that we're having, because this was a conversation that we had, and I just broke it up into a series of shorts. Um, anyway, she's awesome. I have included her Cash App down the bottom under like the show more under this video. And if you are so moved to help her in any way, follow your heart. That's all I ask. Follow your heart. That's what I'm doing. I'm not getting any money for this, and I'm not asking any money for this, but I want to try to help people in some small way, and I hope this does something in that regard. So I'll leave her Cash App at the bottom, and I'm supposed to say like, share, and subscribe if you find this valuable, this content valuable. I hope so. My goal in doing this is to shine a light on the homeless problem here in Charlotte, and how they are not all drug addicts. They are not people, like considered just throwaway people. They're people, that had something happen. Sometimes it's emotional things that have happened. I met people who had profound losses after the pandemic, and that sent them kind of down a rabbit hole. So in that respect, people ended up homeless for that reason. So these are, like I said, these are not throwaway people. They are people who just need a leg up, not so much a hand out, but a hand, a hand up, or I don't know. They need help. And she is one of the most deserving people that I've met. Like I said, she's awesome. She's a really, really good person. And like I said, if you're so moved, feel free to donate to her Cash App that I will include down the bottom. I'm going to do a bunch of these shorts, and you will get to know her like I did, and be rooting for her like I was. One of the things that I wanted to talk about also was our first short is a clip from our conversation where we talked about Tyler Perry's movie Straw. So, Taraji P. Henson carried this entire film. I love Taraji. Like, she's probably the hardest working black actress that I know of. She comes across so authentic and real, and her emotions were intense through this entire film. I imagine she must have been emotionally drained after she finished filming this project, because I was emotionally drained after watching the movie. It's the kind of movie that's gonna make you ugly cry. Okay, you gonna ugly cry after this movie, because if you don't feel the intensity and the level of emotional effect, the emotional effect from this movie, you might want to get yourself checked out. I'm just saying. So that was the conversation that this young lady and I had in our first short that I'm going to share. Was regarding the movie Straw, because obviously it hit her different, because she's lived in a level of intensity for some years. So yeah, that is the basis of the majority of the basis of our first conversation. I hope you enjoy it. And like I said, please feel free to share and help this young lady, because she's very deserving, as I'm sure you'll agree. Anyway, so like, subscribe, and share. And thank you for joining me at Unhoused in CLT.